comes a time when you have to look yourself in the mirror and admit that playing nice has been playing you. Too many times you've said yes when your spirit was screaming no. Too many times you've tolerated what God was trying to separate you from. And now it's time for you to step into a version of yourself that doesn't ask for permission to be powerful. There's a difference between being kind and being so nice that you become your own biggest obstacle. Too many of us have spent years trying to accommodate, adjust, and appease, only to wake up one day feeling depleted and stuck. And let me tell you something. God didn't call you to be stuck. He called you to be elevated, transformed, and victorious. Being too nice can block your breakthrough because it keeps you in places that no longer serve you. You stay in friendships that drain you. You stay in jobs that suffocate you. You stay in cycles that stunt your growth. And all because you don't want to offend, upset, or disappoint anyone. But here's the truth. Every time you overextend yourself for people who wouldn't do the same for you, you are choosing them over the future God has planned for you. Some of us have been so afraid of saying no that we've said yes to things that have stolen our joy, yes to relationships that were never meant to last, yes to commitments that drained our purpose, yes to environments that dimmed our light, and then we wonder why we feel frustrated, overwhelmed, and exhausted. Baby, your kindness is beautiful, but if it's keeping you from your calling, then it's costing you too much. In 2025, we are no longer mistaking being nice for being necessary. Your destiny does not require you to be everything for everyone. It requires you to be obedient to God's voice. And let me tell you, God will sometimes call you to step away. He will call you to say no. He will call you to close doors that no longer lead to the right places. And that doesn't make you rude, it makes you wise. Let's be real, people will try to make you feel guilty when you stop catering to their comfort. They will call you selfish when you start protecting your peace. They will call you mean when you set boundaries. But don't let their labels distract you from your assignment. You are not called to be liked, you are called to be impactful. When you stop being too nice, you make room for God's best. You make room for peace that isn't tied to performance. You make room for relationships that pour into you instead of just taking from you. You make room for joy that isn't conditional. And most importantly, you make room for the version of you that God always intended you to be. So this year we are choosing purpose over pleasing people. We are choosing boldness over burnout. We are choosing breakthrough over broken cycles. Because when you finally stop being too nice, you stop being stuck. And when you stop being stuck, you step fully into the life God has been waiting to give you. This is your year to move forward. No more hesitation, no more guilt, no more being too nice at the expense of your breakthrough. It's time to walk in your power. Too many of us have been walking around exhausted, drained, and unfulfilled, not because we aren't capable, not because we aren't anointed, but because we've been living for approval instead of purpose. Somewhere along the way, we started believing that our worth was tied to how many people clapped for us, agreed with us, or accepted us. But let me tell you something. God never called you to be liked. He called you to be impactful. Look at every person in the Bible who walked in their calling and you'll see a pattern. They weren't always liked. Moses wasn't liked when he stood up to Pharaoh. Esther wasn't liked when she risked everything to save her people. Jesus himself wasn't liked by the very people he came to save. But they weren't here to be popular. They were here to be powerful. And so are you. When you live to be liked, you water yourself down. You shrink your voice, you dim your light, and you adjust yourself to fit into rooms that can't even hold the weight of your calling. But when you live to be impactful, you walk with a different kind of confidence. You make decisions based on purpose, not popularity. You set boundaries based on wisdom, not on what will keep everyone comfortable. You move in alignment with what God says about you, not with what people expect from you. Here's the reality. Not everyone is going to understand the version of you that is fully walking in your calling. Some people will be uncomfortable when you stop over-explaining yourself. Some people will feel threatened when you stop playing small. And some people will distance themselves when you start standing in your truth. But that's okay. Their discomfort is not your responsibility. Their opinions are not your assignment. Your only responsibility is to be obedient to what God has placed inside of you. You have to be willing to disappoint people in order to fully step into your purpose. You have to be okay with being misunderstood, because impact is disruptive. Purpose is disruptive. The anointing on your life is not meant to make everyone comfortable. It's meant to break chains, open doors, and shift atmosphere. This is the year we stop waiting for permission. This is the year we stop dimming our light to fit in. This is the year we stop caring if everybody likes us, because God is calling us higher. He is calling us to be bold. He is calling us to walk in our authority. So let them talk, let them question, let them misunderstand, but don't you dare shrink back. Don't you dare second guess the calling on your life. Because when it's all said and done, you don't want to be remembered for how many people liked you. You want to be remembered for how many lives you changed. This is your time to be impactful. Walk in it. Too many of us have been taught that setting boundaries means we are being mean, selfish, or unkind. We've been made to feel guilty for saying no, for needing space, for choosing ourselves. But let me set you free today. Boundaries are not barriers. They are not walls that shut people out. They are gates that protect what God has placed inside of you. When you don't have boundaries, you invite chaos. You allow people to take from you without ever pouring back into you. You give away your time, your energy, and your peace to people who do not value them. And then you wonder why you feel depleted, drained, and disconnected from your purpose. It's because you've been so busy trying to be available to everyone that you have become unavailable to yourself. Let's talk about Jesus for a moment. Even Jesus, the Son of God, the Savior of the world, had boundaries. He would leave the crowds to pray alone. He would walk away when it was time to move on. He didn't heal on demand. He healed according to purpose. And if Jesus needed boundaries, what makes you think you don't? Some of us have been saying yes when we really mean no. Some of us have been pouring into people who never pour back into us. Some of us have been carrying responsibilities that were never meant for us to carry. And God is saying, enough. This is the year you stop stretching yourself so thin that you have nothing left for what I called you to do. Boundaries are not about rejection, they are about direction. They help you stay focused on what actually matters. They help you say, I can love you and still not let you drain me. I can care about you and still not let you cross the line. I can support you and still not abandon myself in the process. Because real love has limits. Real peace has protection. This is your wake-up call to stop apologizing for your boundaries. Stop explaining why you can't show up for everybody. Stop feeling guilty for protecting your peace. Some people won't like it. Some people will try to make you feel bad, but listen to me. The people who truly love you will respect the version of you that is healthy and whole, not just the version of you that is always available. 2025 is not the year of overextending yourself. It is not the year of saying yes out of guilt. It is not the year of allowing people to take advantage of your kindness. This is the year you establish, enforce, and stand firm in your boundaries. Because when you set boundaries, you are not shutting people out. You are making room for what truly belongs in your life. So stand tall, walk boldly, and don't you dare feel bad for protecting what God has given you. Your peace, your time, and your purpose are too valuable to be left unguarded. This is your year to say no without apology and yes to what truly matters. For too long, you've been apologizing for who you are, apologizing for your gifts, apologizing for your confidence, apologizing for taking up space. But I came to tell you, 2025 is not the year for apologies. This is the year for boldness. This is the year you stop seeking permission to be who God already said you are. Some of us have spent years watering ourselves down, making ourselves smaller so that others feel comfortable. We've silenced our voices, held back our dreams, and stayed in places that no longer serve us because we didn't want to rock the boat. But let me ask you this. How much longer are you going to shrink when God is calling you to stand tall? The time for hesitation is over. The time for questioning yourself is over. The time for waiting on someone else to validate what God already confirmed is over. In 2025, we step into everything that has our name on it, and we do it without apology. Boldness means walking with confidence, even when you don't have all the answers. Boldness means saying yes to God, even when other people don't understand. Boldness means refusing to let fear, doubt, or the opinions of others keep you from stepping into the life that was designed for you. You know what happens when you stop apologizing for being who God made you? Doors open, opportunities come, favor follows, because boldness is attractive. It shifts the atmosphere. It makes room for the blessings that hesitation kept blocking. When David stepped up to fight Goliath, he didn't hesitate. When Esther walked into the king's court, she didn't apologize. When Jesus fulfilled his mission, he didn't ask for permission. And if God could call them to be bold, what makes you think he hasn't called you to do the same? Let this be the year that you stop playing small. Stop second guessing your gifts. Stop seeking validation from people who don't even know their own purpose. This is the year you speak with authority, walk with confidence, and move like you believe that you are chosen, anointed, and called for something greater. And yes, some people will be uncomfortable. Some people will question why you've changed. Some people will try to pull you back into old versions of yourself. But that's not your burden to carry. Their discomfort is not your responsibility. Your responsibility is to walk in what God has placed inside of you, boldly and unapologetically. So in 2025, we are not shrinking. We are not hesitating. We are not explaining ourselves to people who were never meant to understand us. We are walking in rooms like we belong there. We are speaking up without fear. We are owning our greatness because God put it inside of us for a reason.